Well, welcome everyone to this network breakout session called Partnering with Candid to Reflect Community. I hope you have been enjoying your experience to learn and connect with colleagues so far, and that this session also contributes to your positive experience participating in network days this year. I am Michelle Dilworth. My pronouns are she, hers, and I am the Senior Director of Partnerships here at Candid. And just a brief note on what we mean about Candid in the context of my title. We know many of you are a funding information network community, and that is part of who we consider partners, as well as CF Insights members and other organizations with which we have good relationships. But in this context of the team that I help to lead, we help to facilitate mutually beneficial data exchanges that support efficiency, equity, and impact for the social sector. Our efforts directly tie to our organizational goal of informing decision-making so that more resources go to the places that will do the most good. I am thrilled to moderate this session, which features two of our esteemed partners who will share how they have worked alongside Candid with the goal to be able to better demonstrate the diversity of their communities. For those of you who joined Ann May's opening remarks yesterday, you may have heard of our Demographics via Candid initiative, and these partners are joining us in this initiative. And so to that end, I would like to have you all help me welcome Don Stone, who is the Chief Impact and Diversity Officer at Center for Nonprofit Management in Nashville, Tennessee, and also Susan Van Ness, who is the Chief Program Officer at the National Diaper Bank Network. Welcome. We thank you both for your generosity and for taking time out of your busy days to join us for this session and share your experience working in partnership with us. I'd also like to acknowledge my colleagues, Priya Kumar, who helped to organize this session and will be helping to moderate the chat. And just a note about how this session came to be is we had heard from many of our partners that they wanted to be in conversation with other folks who are doing this work and to learn together. So this session is meant to be interactive, and I hope you will share your comments and come off mute and talk about your lessons learned or share any observations about your work with us. And just to ground us all in the room, I'd like to give a brief overview of our Candid profiles and the data collected within these profiles, which form the inspiration of the partnerships we will hear about with Don and Susan. But for the sake of this conversation, I'd like to share a few high-level points, and I'm going to share my screen in order to do that. So just a little bit about Candid profiles. I do know there's a lot of information on this slide, but just the high-level view. Basic profiles are for all registered nonprofits that are tax exempt through the IRS or have that designation. And currently about 90,000 nonprofit organizations have shared additional information to earn one of our seals of transparency, which help them share more of their own story of their efforts, operations, and impact. These profiles contain information that is commonly requested information on grant applications. Profiles can be updated for free and provide an opportunity to gain significant visibility amongst our more than 10 million visitors to GuideStar every year, and the more than 200 plus charitable sites that are fueled by this information. And just to give a little more information on what those seals of transparencies are, I just wanted to share here the types of information that is required at each level. You'll see here on the gold level is where we have required the demographics of an organizational's leader in order to get the gold transparency seal. And then here are some other optional information that you can provide, which is related to board members, senior staff, as well as the equity strategies of an organization. I also just want to note that while it's tied to the gold seal, you can still enter out this information in even if you haven't gotten to the gold seal. And just what do we mean by demographics? This is the information that we collect. We collect around race and ethnicity, gender identity, sexual orientation, and disability. And with that, I am going to stop sharing my screen and then get to the main event and start to speak with Don and Susan and have them share their experience. So Don, I'll start with you first. Can you share what was the inspiration to partner with Candid and what was the problem that you were trying to solve as part of this partnership?
Excellent. Thank you so much. And I'm happy to be here on behalf of our entire membership-based organization in Nashville, Tennessee. But a year ago, I actually was charged with identifying ways to not only connect to our minority organizations, but also ask our current database people, which were organizations that were primarily white led. Actually, 85% of our membership as of last year was white led. And so they said, you know what, we have a lot of dated info. And so Asia Hadley, the amazing Asia, contacted me and said, hey, Dawn, I think there's an opportunity for us to have a partnership here. And I just stepped into this role and I said, sure, let's do it. Because part of my work was to bring the community into our membership-based organization and be led by the community, which is very diverse in the state of Tennessee and especially in Nashville. So what we were able to do is put together a kick behind campaign, which included marketing and training and development and just an awareness campaign. So Asia really asked some things of me and I was able to get her some things that she needed, which was our current membership. And we just scrubbed our databases and we went and encouraged our membership to really, A, take a look at it and B, ask, you know, what other things do you need? Because we know transparency in general across for-profit and not-for-profit is paramount in us really being able to step into our equity shoes, if you will. And so Candid was a great first step. And we were able to not only claim our websites, our emails, and our space here, we were also able to get a number of our members up to gold and a few that were platinum as well. And so now we have integrated this in our total membership campaign. So when new members come into our organization, we make this a part of their onboarding. So, I mean, making it not an option is our only option. So
Wow.
that's how we were able to grow it within a year. And I will say, thanks to Asia and her work here and the work that I had being in the space as a community impact diversity officer, I was promoted within a year. We were actually able to grow our minority membership at the Center for Nonprofit Management within 1 year by 407%.
Wow.
So we are still growing. And
Great.
thanks to Candid for the partnership. It's been
Wonderful. And thank you for the kudos to Asia. Asia, here's a big fan of yours. So Susan, I'd love to turn it over to you if you could help provide some of that initial context as well as how you began partnering with Candid and what problem you were trying to solve.
Yeah, so some similarities and some differences from Dawn's story that probably echo throughout the nonprofit sector. So for us at the National Diaper Bank Network, we're about 11 years old, and diapers and poverty have been around for much longer than that. And it's been a little over a decade of us trying to sort of organize the nonprofit sector that is addressing this issue of diaper need that 1 out of 3 families in the United States experience. So we had to raise awareness about diaper need because it's something that people don't realize, that babies need diapers until you have them. And then you're like, oh my gosh, so many diapers, so many diapers, so many diapers, and they're so expensive. And so the community is overwhelmingly responsive to the issue, but they have to learn about it. So we started out with a really low bar for membership, and we grew pretty quickly over a few years into a very diverse network. And all kinds of organizations. Do you distribute diapers for free to your community? If so, let's come together and establish best practices. So such a big tent, right? And about 6 or 7 years ago, we were at our annual conference in person, and we knew our network was pretty diverse, but panel after panel was white women, white affluent women, and they were the ones who volunteered to. It was unintentional, but we knew we had a problem. We were not supporting we were not uplifting the leadership within our own network. So, but we didn't know what to do at that time in terms of we didn't have a tool. We kind of had like a secret spreadsheet. We started to do our own research. How do we, this is uncomfortable, you know, we felt awkward. Are we doing this right? We don't know. And we did over a few years get to the point where we had started to do a demographic survey of our members. And that same year, Catalina Spitnell reached out to me from Candid and said, you know, we have this campaign to help fast track your members to claiming their profiles, and we would love for them to provide their demographic information. We'll provide it to you. And it was like a fairy godmother moment, really, where somebody came out of nowhere and said, let me help you do what you're trying to do, but better. And so we immediately took the opportunity to adopt the same demographic survey that Candid had developed. It was just more universal. It had the right language. It was very clear, and it made so much sense when we shared it with our members of, yeah, we're going to collect this data so we know who we are and how we're doing. And we're going to establish this baseline of exactly how diverse our network is. Oh, but also you should do it for your nonprofit in Candid's database, because this is what nonprofits do. And we had it as a like Dawn said, it wasn't required. And now it's not required for us yet, but it's definitely a service that we provide when people become members, is to help them to claim their profile. So we took advantage of that opportunity to partner and used it as a member benefit. And our members really did love it. And we offered it as a member benefit. So because we were vetting our members as nonprofits, we said, you know, Robin and Catalina gave us a password. When people went to claim their profiles, they could say they were a member of NDBN, and they could get access to their profile to start updating it faster, which is so important in this day and age when nonprofit leaders, they're busy, right? So what they're doing this afternoon, once they run out of time, they might not get back to that project for several weeks. So this made that go much faster. And then we really loved that Candid provided training and resources. And then the other thing that we really liked was that some of our members thought that they had profiles because their information was there in GuideStar, but it was pretty empty. And so it was a really good opportunity to educate our nonprofit leaders on this whole world of nonprofit transparency.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for sharing those stories. And I know you both have been partners for over a year now, and all your hard work has certainly led to some really great results. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly one more time, just to share what are some of the benchmarks where we started and where we ended with both of you all, just to, you know, toot your own horns and, you know, help us celebrate your accomplishments. So here's our latest dashboard for the Center for Nonprofit Management in Tennessee. And you can see where we started and where we ended up, and it's some significant growth there, which I'm really excited to see. And then also here, we'll share Diaper Bank, and just also to show that. And again, you know, all these efforts you've talked about that help to lead to this growth, you know, certainly takes a village, and we both, you know, we have both been working very hard on that. And I guess that gets to my next question. I'll come off the screen again, and I'm happy to bring them up if it helps with you all answer these questions. But what do you think worked well, and what do you think contributed to the success we've seen so far? And Susan, maybe I'll start with you this time.
So like I said, the fast track was definitely keeping it simple and having like the training available. So our nonprofits, they learn in really different ways. Some like to attend a meeting, some like to read an email, some like to watch a video. And I really appreciated Catalina, one, setting up a goal sheet with me and working out a schedule of, okay, we're going to have a training this, you know, so make sure, when's your next member newsletter? Let's put that in the member newsletter. Do you have the material to promote it in a way that is going to catch your members' attention and help them understand what it is? So that handholding was so valuable for me, who also has the limited, in my limited bandwidth of, okay, I want to do this, but it wasn't what I was planning on doing this month. It really didn't matter. And we were able to think through the process together and come up with a plan over a few months, take that baseline data, which was fascinating, then offer the training and then see if the needle moved. And it did. It was exciting to see that the needle was moving. And then the other thing I would say that worked really well was for our members to start going into GuideStar and seeing what kind of information nonprofits can and should show the world meant the world. It was a lot for us. So in our network, we have a lot of DIY type nonprofit leaders. They come to it from passion, and we provide them with professional development skills and resources and technical assistance. So we rely a lot on pictures of babies to move people, but that's not enough, and we have the data available to our members, but internally we might say a diaper bank distributed 1,000 diapers or 1 million diapers in a year, but the rest of their community doesn't really know what that means. So looking at how to tell your story through data and photos and videos, that really kind of, I think, excited our members to be able to go into their profiles and find metrics that matter to them, to talk about the volunteer program or the number of parents that were able to go to work each month because they had diapers to drop off at the daycare for their children.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm wondering, Don, do you have anything else you'd like to say about what experiences and, what worked well for you all? And again, I open it up to anyone in the chat to also share as well.
Yes, I will say, I want to echo a lot of what Susan said. I think it was the consistency. I know it was the consistency for us. So the one thing that we were able to do, first of all, you have to have a one-to-one relationship with your Candid buddy. So whoever that person is, making sure that you're lockstep, and we had regular meetings. So the thing about me, I'm one that's very busy. And so what Asia did was she made sure that I had a date and a time with her at least every other month or right before a big campaign. And so having the Candid calendar and also matching that with the marketing calendar that I created. And I looked at all the holidays that mattered for us as an MBO, because our membership, we support, there's roughly, if you do everything, active members, you got 15,000 in our ecosystem. Okay, that's a lot of folks to have to hit. And so we had to be very targeted. And so what we've done now, and I just sent off, I got an email from Candid about some training. I flipped it this morning. Hey, this is for our village. We got a village of 400 minority-led agencies with every ethnicity around the globe. They now have the information. The fact that they offer it in Spanish, I promote that as well. And then also sending that to our regular members as well, because we're now in our reclamation time of year where we've put this out there. So they now have the same information. They're part of this grandfathered way of doing things. When you come in, we have quarterly membership meetings for our new members and our reclaimed members, and Candid is a part of that conversation. The Candid training we integrate as our own. So we do a lot of co-branding, and it's like, hey, C&M is offering Candid training. So everybody's like, how do y'all get the data? Because we have the data once you get a partnership. And so that's also worked with other agencies that didn't even know about, the greatness of Candid. And so now they are also coming alongside of us and doing the work. So I do a lot of our collective impact work across the city and now across the state. And so making sure those data houses and those colleges and universities are also aware of what Candid has to offer. So that's how it's worked for us.
Wonderful. Thank you both for being such great ambassadors for Candid. And certainly we've seen, as we've seen on the slides, this great work that you've done. But I also just wanted to know, we know we still have more to go. You can still see those nonprofits that haven't yet claimed. So just turning to the other side of it, and just, what do you think didn't work well? And also, what do you think we can do to help make better progress?
So for the National Diaper Bank Network, again, getting back into that low bar that we had, and any kind of, we made this, I don't think it's a mistake, but we talk about our member organizations as members, and that's a really vague word, right? Like member. Is it a person at a food bank? Is it a founder of a nonprofit? Is it co-leaders of a junior league diaper program? There were all these different types of organizations, and they started to develop uniform programs. But going through this process, we realized exactly who and where and how many and why our members were programs inside larger organizations. So being able to pull all the members by a database with Catalina, by like employer identification number, and look and say, okay, their mission isn't about poverty, but they run this program. How sustainable and secure is our mission is to the community. So our mission is to build a national network of community-based diaper programs. So at first it was honestly a little discouraging to realize, okay, almost half of our members are actually programs in larger organizations. So their GuideStar profile doesn't say anything about diapers or children or poverty, even in some cases, because they were part of they might have been a faith-based organization or a large service organization. And it felt a little discouraging. It was interesting to see that our network leadership was very diverse. But then when we looked at Candid's breakdown of these organizations, now we're looking at the CEOs and the presidents and the board members, not so diverse. And working with Candid, I think, has given us confidence to say, like, okay, you know what? That's not just discouraging, but that's the way out. That is the solution. That's exactly why we're all here, is because we have to drive equity. So it was a challenge, but it was more, it's necessary. And it's our way to drive equity through the work that we do to build capacity. And we'll continue to work with Candid to find ways to get those stories into all of those profiles, because they deserve to be there. And I think people, donors and people that want to support our member programs will want to see them. And so I look forward to that, but it's definitely going to be a challenge.
Yeah, well, it seems like a challenge, sort of definitely worth taking. So thank you for sharing that. Don, I'll turn to you.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to start at the macro level. So at the macro level, I would like to see more partnerships with the Susans and the Dons in our spaces. So what that means is, as I'm going for funding, you at the table going, hey, here's the information, here's the data, because what happens is in my space, I get data from a number of sources. I'm partnered with a Policy Link on one thing about workforce development. I'm over here with Solomon Foundation on another. I'm with the Metro government. And so having you in those spaces with us alongside as a strategic partner saying, hey, this is why we need to put all the data in one place, I think just really kind of getting that out of the nonprofit, but into the more of our profit, if that makes sense, because there's a lot that can be done. And there's a lot of data out here that we still need to scrub across organizations, data banks, everything. And it's not just nonprofit. So if we can start thinking about what it looks like from a profit standpoint, right? And how we're going to be connected to our community and the data that we have, you all telling us, hey, I have this here, we see this here, we also match this state data. So how can we use this collectively to address the needs and the issues around diapers and babies? Because see, Susan also is tied into my space. And so when we have the urban versus rural, and then you have all the affluent people in between, drinking tea and eating croquettes and stuff, we need to be able to come together and use the data and the narratives. So I think for you, it's going to be a way, how do we capture that quantitative and that qualitative data and package it so we as partners can use it more effectively in our spaces? That's number one. At the at the 1,000 foot level, actually offering more of those one-on-one, let's claim our profile, and having these sometimes be live sessions, because some of our folks can't operate in an online space. So they may hit play and be like, okay, I'm gonna come back, I've got an issue. But if we have maybe some monthly or quarterly meetups where they can come in with their computer with a real person from your team. I see all these beautiful people here today that are Candid. Have them work on it. Let's get you to gold or platinum. That be the standard, not just a bronze to say I'm here. And then we also would look at taking that information and use it as a recruiting tool for our boards and our membership, because that's what we're starting to do now. I've got 2 requests today. I'm looking for a board member. I want to be able to use the Candid data to quickly go in and say, who needs a person of color here? Who needs a person of influence here? Who needs someone that is from a neuro difference, right? Because people are so limited in what we think about. It's not just race, it's not just income. It's a whole gamut of things. It's actually 29 different elements on the diversity side. So Candid being very intentional in helping communicate that and walking alongside us would be great. That's it.
That's all. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. And just wanted to note too, just that, the information we collect is also much more of an aggregate than that individual. I love the idea of being able to target board members, but at least understanding the makeup of an organization and whether a leader from that organization would be great to have. I just wanted to share that. I'm wanting to open it up for everyone else too. If you are a partner with us, we'd love to hear from you as well. And just, think about how we can better work together to make some more progress on bringing people in and sharing demographics. So anyone can come off mute if they would like. And if not, I can continue to ask questions from our wonderful guests here, because we know they have lots of information they can share.
So there is a question that came in from Erica. Erica, feel free to unmute yourself, but she was wondering, what are some other ways we can promote profile adoption and sharing of demographic data beyond the Go for the Gold campaign, which Michelle, if you want to briefly touch on that. And I think Dawn and Susan, you've kind of touched on this a little bit, but a sort of follow up to that question is, especially given the multiple hats that a lot of these partners play, this is just one aspect of the work they do. So how can we promote this while also being very busy people doing other things? So if you have any other thoughts to add to that.
Sure. I'll share a little bit about the Go for the Gold campaign, and then I will turn it over to Dawn and Susan to think about that question and how else we can start engaging, because as they both said, we all wear 1,000 hats, right? And we know that the people we serve are wearing 1,000 hats. So how do we help make this priority? But just a little bit on Go for the Gold. So Go for the Gold is a promotion that we started this year and that we are now making a permanent promotion that to help organizations get to that gold level. If you are an organization with $1 million in revenue and budget or below, you are able to receive a free yearly subscription to Foundation Directory Essential if you reach the gold level. So that is something that has started this year and is going to continue on. And so that's the Go for Gold campaign. And now, Dawn, Susan, I'll turn it over to you if you have any thoughts on the question in terms of how do we help prioritize this work for our very many-hatted constituency.
Well, one thought that I have is I really like the idea of encouraging organizations to use their profile as an info sheet. And I was thinking donors, but I think, Dawn, you're right. It's really good for community engagement and board recruitment. And we've all seen enough nonprofit websites that say they're the biggest in this, or they're the first at that. There's a lot of claims that can be made on the internet. And I think that promoting the profiles as a third-party neutral organization that is committed to transparency and accountability, I think that goes much farther than sending people to your website. So we encourage all of our members to put those seals on their websites, to occasionally put them up on social media. And when they do, we can share them and we can amplify that.
Right. Great. Thank you.
One thing I would add about the mechanics of getting it done as a GSD, but anyway, getting stuff done, is to, I look at their cycles. I'll tell you, in our membership, we have people making $0 to multi-million. So I've got the United Ways, the American Red Cross, the Heart Association, Cancer Society, and then I also have, pick up my shoes .org. And so when we have that much of a discrepancy in people's time, I've actually been one, and I'll tell you what I do, because I'm just a little different. I will go and gather their old stuff and I'll update it, like in my own head. Like I'll go print off what they have and I'll say, hey, is this person still in position over there? Well, no, they rolled off the board 2 years ago. I said, well, who's the new person? So actually I start updating it for them. Then I say, hey, guess what? You want to be bankable, right? You want to be fundable. Let's go over here and get this stuff set up so you can get it done. And then I offer to even sometimes sit on Zoom as an accountability, or on the phone as an accountability buddy. Did you get it? Did you get it? Did you increase your seal? And so I make a competition out of it. Sometimes it'll be me versus them versus the world. And I will pit a United Way. I will tell them, pick up your shoes.org. I will put you against United Way 7 days a week. Let's go get this money together, right? And that has made a difference. And I mean, it's just that little thing. And I think because they know I'm asking, because they are small, makes the world of difference. So like even tonight, all these great people who've had this training from Asia actually came in and did a training for the village. This village went from 0 people to 17 to 35 to 400 within 1 year.
That's wonderful.
Right. And we get together every week. So there's an opportunity for us to insert help and support, and we record everything. So you can even go back last year and pick up the Candid. Like when we had her in March, they can go and see all of our new people, go back and watch that video with her explaining what this Go for the Gold is all about and why it's important. So that's kind of what I've done. And I don't say that anybody should subscribe to my crazy, don't co-sign on my crazy, but I have a personal chip on my shoulder for the little guys and the little girls and the little people, because they are the ones that are, a lot of times, Susan, we know this, they're the ones in the street doing the work all day long.
That's the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of times I take those calls at 11 p.m. I sure do. And those 1:30 emails a.m.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I appreciate, these are competitive people because they're fighting for the families that they serve or the cause that they serve. And we can, that's an excellent point to play into that. And then at the same time, meeting them where they are and when it works for them. So we look, if we have some awareness weeks, we've got some really busy times of the year. We also have some really like down times. Our members, they kind of close down over the holidays, but they're still around and they want to see each other and get together. And when they have time that they can be on a call and chat, they really look forward to seeing a few other familiar faces. So I think that that's a really excellent point too, Dawn.
Yeah.
And I go and sit beside him, Michelle. I literally go. I have a big Somalian community and my Kurdish community in Nashville. They require my face and my body in their space. So they don't even work until I show up. And so that's when we get that type of work done.
Sure. Well, wonderful that you're such an ambassador. Thank you again. I'm going to invite Tracy Waxler to just share a little bit. She wanted to share some other ways that we can work towards getting folks to understand the benefit of this. So Tracy, turning it over to you and our shareable links, et cetera.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. So I, for one, will sign on to that crazy, co-sign on to that crazy. So I love the way you phrase that. I think I'm going to use that if you don't mind, because I got my own version of it. So the other thing, so the Go for Gold is great. We're thrilled to be able to offer that. But even more widely applicable, we now have a full profile shareable link. So for all the seal holders, you're going to get a link that you can send to a funder, a donor, put it on your website, put it in your comms, so that they are not going to have any barriers to seeing your full profile link, everything. So that we think is a way for you to meet those funds where they are and not have them, not wait to be asked. But, here's our information. It's all here. Take it. They may still have their other forms and stuff, but at least they are going to get those basic answers and know that they want to talk to you, because they're going to see all your programs. They're going to see every detail that you can possibly share. So we want to make sure that they're, I always look at so much of this work as just an exercise of removing friction. This is hard work, and asking for money is a hard thing for people to do. So what can we do to remove some of that friction? And we believe the full shareable link, it's gotten off to a great start. We're going to start promoting it more loudly in the coming weeks and months. But again, take away the friction, tell the donor before they have to ask who you are.
Yeah. I think the other thing about this that's so great too is that it's, everything that's in the profile is basically what you would be sharing anyway for a grant application, right? And to be able to just share that link, and for those that who are, practicing trust-based philanthropy, et cetera, that should be enough information for you to be able to, get a grant or get some funds and support. So that shareable link, I think, is a really great way for us to start working towards that too. So thanks, Tracy, for jumping on and sharing what that is.
Yeah, happy to. And I think we're taking friction. It's allowing us to take friction out of both sides of the house.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
So,
just want
I
to
like that.
share that, Don is great, sharing some great comments in the Zoom chat that I know a lot of you might not be able to see because you're impathable, but just so you know, link for funders, I'm taking that and thanking you for co-signing on Crazy, just sharing Don's talk, and be radical about removing barriers and amplifying our nonprofit. So she would love to be in touch, and we'll make sure that you all are connected.
One other thing I wanted to add too, that is, I think, something that is worth mentioning about that I learned was that just providing that information in the profile, a lot of our members were nervous with the demographic information, and started with like the race ethnicity question, everybody answered. The gender question, everybody answered. By the time it got down to like, do you identify as cisgender? It was like, prefer not to answer. And that's okay. It's 100% fine. We let everybody know up front. Answer all the questions. You can decline to answer any question. Candid let us know that nonprofit organizations that have this gold seal, that provide this data, do tend to get more funding than those that don't have that data. It's not about how diverse your organization is. It's about the transparency. Of course, there are going to be, that is going to be the direction that we're going in, but just letting people know that the key is providing the data and being transparent right now. That was super helpful for our members.
Wonderful. And it is the right message, I believe, right? So it's, how transparent can you get to? And that's the whole idea of the seals of transparency, is to help folks graduate to a higher level. I know we only have 5 minutes left, so I want to make sure that if there are any other questions out there, we want to make sure to get them answered, and any other comments, feel free to come off mute. And if not, one of the things I would just like to say to Don and Susan, what is your best elevator pitch as to why you should join Candid in helping your communities by joining this campaign? Don, I'll start with you.
Okay, well, I keep it kind of simple. I'm a business major, I'm a business head, a nerd by trade and by profession, right? Play with that anyway. I say data makes you better. Get the real data and make the real change. So that is why Candid is so important to me, because literally it was my second week on the job, and my organization didn't even want to give me funding to come to Candid. Literally, I had to fight. And they're like, why would we do that? I was like, why would you not?
Can you explain what that funding is? Like what?
Oh, okay. Being a membership-based organization, every little dollar we have is spent somewhere in our space. And since I was over community and collective impact, they didn't see the need, and we already had data people locally. They didn't see the need to have a larger microscope, right? They just wanted this myopic lens just in our city. And I kept showing them data and say it's not enough, because you can't even tell me who's in our membership base. You can't tell me how many people failed in a business. This is the end of the pandemic. What are we doing here? And so I literally used your data to campaign to get the money to fund this for another year. So now there's no question, it's a part of the work, it's a part of my budget. And it now is something that we use as a tool to amplify the works of our people. And I use Candid data to challenge the local data that's collected.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh yeah. I'm
Well,
seriously.
I'm so glad to see all that progress you've made and all that work. So thank you for sharing that.
I love that, Dawn. That is beautiful. And I feel like that's inspirational for me to hear. You know, we're in the diaper banking world. We've been working to raise awareness, and this summer was for the first time ever, there was federal funding for diaper programs, and it's a pilot program for 6 states. We're going to see how it goes. Finally recognizing that diapers are a basic need that's different than saying, like, why don't you just take some of the SNAP money, or why don't you just take some of WIC's money for diapers? Like, no, those programs are already underfunded. And I think, you know, like you said, Dawn, we're partnering with Candid because we are able to pull so much data out. And that allows us to help our members to be ready. So we know we got this federal funding. We did the first national research on the economic impact of diaper banks in a community. So for every dollar invested in a diaper bank, how does that reduce medical costs? How does it reduce ER visits? How does it increase household income, state income tax in a state? We did it first in Connecticut, and now we'll be publishing that over the next year. But we have to get our member network ready for when the opportunity. So 6 states are doing the pilot federal funding program. And we know that there's going to be more opportunities that come the following year, but we need our members to be ready. Like, getting federal funding, getting a federal grant, that is a whole nother level for many of our members. And they have to, when that opportunity goes out and is published on the internet, and all the nonprofits around the United States see it and say, oh, we can apply for that $1 million grant program. We can learn how to do diapers. Okay. You know, we're doing it, and we just want our members to be ready. So being able to look at other nonprofits' journey through Candid, you know, we're students of Candid. We're there lurking. We're looking at all these different organizations in every state where we have members and where we don't have members. So it's really a tremendous tool for us in that regard.
Wonderful.
It's like a secret weapon.
Truly.
Well, we want it to be secret.
Truly.
Yeah.
But you can force a collaboration too, Michelle. That's another thing that Susan just alluded to. I use the Candid data because everybody wants their own nonprofit with their own, you know, part of it. And then they start complaining when they're not the ones that get the grant. And especially on the federal side, I will say, how about 12 of us come together? Here's what you do. Here's where you are. And I'll have 2 anchors. I'll be the convener. Let's go. And it has worked. Our state has issued, the city of Nashville, Tennessee, has already given over $900,000 to us in 1 year.
Wonderful.
That's so true. That's exactly how the pilot funding came through. It was community collaborations.
That's wonderful. Well, collaboration, partnership, all very, very important. And we're so happy that you're part of our partnership network. And so thank you for all the good work that you do. It's so wonderful to hear the work that you do, because it helps inspire us. And we are here to help the helpers, and you are the helpers on the ground doing some really great work. So thank you for sharing, and thank everyone else for participating. And we'll let you get on to your next session.